Hello everyone, this is tryinmorning here, and I've been tagged, so that means I have to answer a couple of questions, in this case regarding video games. And the person who just so happened to tag me was Christy. Let me see if I can find her username exactly, because it's a bunch of numbers as well, in case you want to go find it later. Right, Christy78968. Yeah, she also does a bit of visual novels as well, and other games, which might interest you if you are willing to check that kind of thing out. And if you're watching my channel, I'm assuming you probably are, because that's a lot of what I do. And it's what's popular right now, I suppose, so go give it a shot. Anyway, like I said, I've been tagged, which means if you're kind of new to this whole tagging thing, which it's kind of been around for a while, so I'm assuming you probably know what this is. But then again, there's some people that are new to the internet, so they may not exactly be in the know. There's always new people coming to the internet, new kids, or I don't know, there's people from other locations that just got the internet. I have no clue what I'm even talking about, but let's get to the question, shall we? The first question is, what is your favorite video game of all time? That's a bit of a big question, of all time. If I had to pick one, because I think I've mentioned it before, although it's been a while since I did that video, so I'm not exactly certain, I said it was The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. And that's a game that I played so many years ago now. I think the first time I played it was 2004, but the game originally came out in 2002, I want to say. I think it was May of 2002, though I could be wrong on that. And it was a very, very interesting game for me at the time because I hadn't really played a lot of those open world games. And, even at that time, while there were open world games before that, it was pretty much, I think, one of the first really big ones. I mean, no, there's more before then, but for me, it was the first, I'll say. And the second question of this tag video is, what is your favorite video game genre? I don't know, game genres, I can't really pick one because, to me, there are other factors that are more important than the genre itself. I can get into any genre if the story's good, if the gameplay's good. Ones that I'm more predisposed to, though, I suppose, would be RPGs, at least at one point RPGs, and first-person shooters, I would kind of say, although not in the sense of games like today. Like, I was a big fan of first-person shooters from, say, like 20 years ago. Let's see, the third question is, what is the earliest game you remember? Oh, man. So this is another question which I probably won't be able to answer satisfactorily. Yeah. I probably will not be able to answer this one because there's so many games that I played when I was young, and it's so long ago at this point that I can't even really separate memories from one another. Like, they all kind of mix together. Like, I can separate things from, say, like the time from when I was 6 to when I was 8. I could be like, oh yeah, I remember, I was playing this then, and then I was looking forward to this game. Like, I have memories that I can recall of, like, looking forward to the N64 generation. I was like, oh wow, these are the new games coming out. There's Mario 64, there's Zelda Ocarina of Time, there's, Final Fantasy 7 coming out for the PlayStation, there's all these new games that are coming out which are, like, redefining genres and, pushing gaming to this next level of 3D gaming, of full motion video, that kind of thing. And I remember that, like, looking forward to that. But before then, I played games, but I can't really distinguish one from the other, as in, I played this one first, I played that one first. Even games that came out, like, separate from each other, like, say, Mario Bros. 3, or Super Mario World, or the original Zelda and A Link to the Past, like, when I played those games doesn't really stick in my mind as the exact year or, month or whatever. Even if a game came out later, like, I can't recall the exact date that A Link to the Past came out. It was, like, maybe 91 or 92. In either case, I think at that point, I was too young to really be aware of it being new. It was just kind of a game that I played like any other. So early memories of games include, I would just say, like Zelda, Mario, whatever games were new at the time, like, say, Super Mario Bros. 3. I played the original Mario Bros. As well at the time. I played them all the Zelda games, the first one, the second one, and A Link to the Past. Like I said, I can't really recall, though, if I played the first games before this A Link to the Past came out, because that was 91, I want to say it's 91. which means I could have played them all together, and it all just got jumbled together. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, maybe I played a little bit later because there's a lot of reading in the game, but I remember I did play that game and I like barely knew how to read, so it's probably like 4 or 5 or something, if I had to make a guess. And like it's a lot of text in that game, so it's difficult for a kid who, you know, isn't sure of his vocabulary, and even now you can tell I don't even fucking speak good. Whatever. Even games like Wolfenstein and Doom I played, and that kind of runs together too, because those came out, like I want to say 92 or 93. I mean, Wolfenstein was a bit earlier, I don't know, maybe it was 91 or 92. And by Wolfenstein, I mean, it was like the 3D one that came out right before Doom. I know there's a couple of Wolfenstein games, but I'm talking about that one. And Doom came out, was it 93 actually? I think it might have been 93, which is a bit later, because I remember my cousin played it and he showed me that, and then that was actually like the precursor to me getting my first computer, because I'm like, oh, I have to get this game, I have to have a computer. And then like I got my computer when I was 6, because that would be 94, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I think I answered that question. What was the question even? Oh, earliest gaming memories, or earliest game. Yeah, I can't really pick out a single game, but I think I gave you an overall idea of what the first games I played were. Just kind of a blur to me at this point, because it's over 20 years ago, more than that even. What game am I looking forward to the most? Oh, this is an easier question because there's not many games I'm looking forward to at this point. I've gotten to the point where a lot of the games from the series that I've enjoyed in the past, I kind of don't really care about anymore. Like even Final Fantasy, which is a series I really liked growing up, at this point I don't really care very much for. So like Final Fantasy 15, I'm kind of meh about. I don't really look forward to it. Though I may give it a shot just because I would love to see Final Fantasy return to the heights that it once was, but I don't feel very confident that it will. Having said that, that's kind of the opposite of the question. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not really looking forward to most. So let's say like games that I do look forward to then, instead of all the ones that I don't care about. I guess I would have to go to the visual novel realm to actually talk about games that I care for at this point, because those have been the games that have been the most enjoyable to me that I've played recently. So, like Magical Diary, I know the creator of Magical Diary, of Hanako Games, they're producing a new game, which recently they've made an announcement about, and while I haven't really investigated it in depth, it seems like it could be pretty good, and some of the ideas behind it that the developers talked about have seemed pretty interesting to me, and I'm looking forward to actually trying it out. So yeah, that's a game I'm looking forward to. Also, the follow-up to the Jisei series, which, I don't know, they all seem to be like Jisei, Kansei, Yusei, so I'll probably be something say. So whatever game that'll be, I'm looking forward to. And supposedly we're going to hear a bit about that coming up soon in the new year. I don't know if it means the game will be out in this new year, or we'll at least get an announcement about it being produced and maybe a hint as to what's going to be going on in it. I don't know, we'll see. I'm relatively patient, so, you know, I don't get too angsty, you know, looking forward to these games like, oh god, I need details, I need the details, why don't you tell me? Because I know some people flip out about games like they need to know now. At this point, you know, they'll come out when it comes out, and, you know, the developers should take their time and make sure they make the best game possible. I don't really see the point of making developers rush to put out a new game or a sequel to a game when, you know, they have other things that are percolating in their minds and you want to let them develop their ideas. At least that's my perspective. Okay, who is my least favorite video game character? If I had to pick one, I'm not sure I'd be able to pick one. To be quite honest, I don't really think too much about, oh, I hate this character, they're terrible. Actually, I do. That's a lie. There are a lot of times when I pick on a character in a game because I don't like them for any specific reason. Either because, I don't know, their character's just annoying, or maybe they're not fully developed, or whatever. I guess what really annoys me, though, is when a character's not fully developed, if I had to pick that as a least favorite aspect of a character. Because personality, sometimes characters are meant to be annoying to, you know, obviously elicit a response from the viewer or the player of the game or whatever. And, you know, it's intentional, and characters like that are actually good because they're supposed to elicit emotions from you, whether it's disgust or anger or whatever it is. But games that are characters that I really hate would probably be ones that I feel are just terrible characters in general. Maybe because the writing around them's terrible, or something about them just doesn't seem right to me. So in that respect, I'd probably have to include the entire cast of Kingdom Hearts, and the main characters of the game, Sora, Riku, and Kairi, I feel don't really get developed that well. And more often than that, their development annoys me more than anything. And then the second game, it just gets even more convoluted from there. I'm not even going to get into that, but I just don't like the characters from that game. And the Final Fantasy characters are just there for absolutely no reason other than it's a Square game and they want to include Final Fantasy characters. They really have nothing else to do with the game whatsoever. There's no purpose for them. They could have been written as any other character and it would have made more sense. And the last question that we have to answer is, who is my favorite video game character? Well, this is also a kind of a difficult question, because I would say my favorite kind of video game character is a protagonist that you play as, which is more of a blank slate from which you can, choose your own path and you can decide your own personality by, conversation choices or quest choices. Like, you could save this guy, or you could save that guy, or you could save neither and, steal their money or something like that. Like, I kind of like that kind of thing where your character is basically whatever you make him out to be. That's my favorite kind of character in a game. But it's also kind of a cop-out, I suppose, because it's more of a favorite protagonist. And if I had to pick a character that's, already designed and has his own personality in like a scripted game, well, obviously all games are scripted, but somehow are scripted, have different choices. But in a more linear game, I would say it's probably... So I guess overall, if I did have to pick a character, I would say maybe Solid Snake, because I feel like he was one of the first characters in video games to really get developed well. It was all the way back in 1998, right? Or 1999, when Metal Gear Solid came out. Very story-oriented, a lot of character development. I'm sure there were games before that, but maybe I just can't think of them right now. But that's like one of the first games that I felt like they really built up strong characters. And of those, I guess I'd pick Solid Snake as the most impactful, I guess, at least on me. So yeah, hopefully that's a satisfactory answer. If not, excuse me, I guess I'm just bad at coming up with answers to these questions, which was kind of like the story with most of them, where I just rambled on forever and kind of got into a bunch of other things which weren't really related, but maybe you enjoy them. Maybe I'll cut them out and I'll just put it in like an extended video. One video I'll just keep like to the point, one I'll just ramble on, in case anyone's actually interested in that. Oh, and before I forget, I have to pick the other people that will be tagged as a result of this video. So, I've given it some thought, and the people I want to pick are, well, first I want to pick Chris Tenarium, because I know he'll get a kick out of this, and I'm just interested to see what his response will be if he even decides to do this, or if he just responds to us on Twitter being like, no way in hell I'm going to do one of these videos. But yeah, Chris Tenarium is another guy who does gameplay videos on YouTube. He does visual novels like I do, except he does a lot more, and he seems to know a lot more about visual novels than I do. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. In some ways, I kind of pity him that he has to play some, well, certain games. I mean, some games are definitely decent in the visual novel realm, but he has certainly exposed me to a lot of the less well-developed games in the visual novel community. But anyway, if you don't know who he is, check him out. I'm sure a lot of you probably do, because I know we share a lot of viewers amongst each other, because we kind of do the same kinds of games, and a lot of the same games we've done. The second person that I want to pick for this tagged kind of video is Mike Money Gamer. He, if you don't know, is another YouTube Let's Player who we've done a few games together with, or at least I have. And he's a pretty good friend of mine, because we've talked a bit before through emails and other things, discussing games and video game systems and that kind of thing, and Let's Playing in general. And the kind of videos he does are, well, kind of different. He does a whole bunch of different games, really. He's been focusing a lot on RPGs, I think, recently, although I could be wrong, because like he has a bunch of games. Kind of like me, he has a bunch of games that are like on the back burner, which I don't know like when I'm gonna get around to, and I'm sure he doesn't know when he'll get around to, but like they're out there to do at some point. So yeah, Mike, I'm sure you're probably likely to do this because, I don't know, you seem like you'd be into this kind of thing. Maybe I'm wrong. But those are the 2 picks I have. I can't really think of a third. The reason being is that a lot of the people that I would have picked were also picked by Christy. Dark Wolf Delta and Super Sisona. I would have picked one of them probably. But since she picked them, obviously I can't. If you're watching this video and you want to do a response of your own, go ahead. And you could send me the link or leave it as a comment, and maybe I'll post it as an annotation or in a link in the description. I don't know, one of those things. Okay, I rambled on for far too long. I'm sick of this. I'm sure you are too. So I'm ending it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found some of this interesting, and maybe you learned something about me, or you gained some interesting insight into my opinions on video games, or maybe it'll influence your mind on something that I talked about itself. Like maybe you'll like, oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts is shit. Probably not, but that's just a joke. No offense, Kingdom Hearts fans. I'm sure you have great... Oh, the sun is rising. No, actually, that's my lamp that's actually causing that light. I had a... You know what? I'm not explaining it. Bye. Take care, and I'll see you next time. This is like the fucking... See you guys. That was a perfect ending.